Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I just did a reading. I started a reading and it wasn't recording. I lost the whole thing. But what's really interesting is it wasn't matching the energy I was feeling for the collective at all. And I also wasn't feeling like normally when I read, I feel an energy exchange, and I wasn't feeling that. I felt like I was talking to the air. So it was really interesting for me to observe like I really feel the collective energy when I'm reading, and when it wasn't recording, I wasn't feeling it. So that was really interesting. So anyway, I'm going to read again and see what comes up. What I'm feeling from this energy is sort of a stabilization after a lot of kick up. So we had a lot of solar activity, two X flares like a week apart. So we barely had time to kind of like recover from that. And now we're in a pause. We're in a pause, and what Pat Donworth has been talking about recently is that the flares come and they purge us. Because I knew, like, with the flares, it was like I knew something's happening. I know I'm being purged. I know I'm being activated. I couldn't figure out if it was like an activation or a purge. I knew they were both going on. But what she explained is that the flares purge us and clear us. And then in between the flare activity is when the unmeasurable, she calls them, that cosmic energy comes in, and that's what activates and downloads us. So that was nice to finally have some clarity about the mechanics of this. I also think it's interesting that information is just coming in now after kind of like, for me, 2 years of like exploring this sort of like on my own through my intuition, and also support with others. But yeah, just some more clarity coming in about what's going on with our sun and how it's affecting us. And so Jason Estes, making sure this is recording. Jason Estes has been, what he had said is that anything below an M flare is, he called it pressure and distortion. And so the way I thought of that is like pressure to a seed, where it just kind of compresses and compresses. And then when we have the higher M's and the X's, it cracks the seed. And that very much feels like what it feels like to me. Like when we have those X flares, it breaks something open. Sometimes I just feel like ecstatic and just like starting all these new projects, and I have this flow of energy. And sometimes for me, like the last couple weeks, it's just been like a lot of like, I can feel like, oh my God, there's like so much chunking off, so that's what I feel the last 2 weeks. We also had, I learned, because I was feeling like, okay, this is like a whole new level of something coming in. It felt like a whole new level. And what I had learned is we were having proton radiation, which apparently is very, very rare, and we were having a lot of it. So I think that was that next level that I was feeling, that was just like extra pressure, like extra, information, or extra, just something different in the mix that was creating a whole nother level of sensitivity for me. I don't know how it played out. I know for everyone, we experience these things differently. It hits us differently, but anyway, it's really interesting. So what I'm feeling from the energy now is like a settling, but it was almost like, because I was using the caterpillar soup analogy last time, where, we just got kind of like liquidized, like just blasted, where there was this infinite potential, but it was formless, and so what I feel happened like within the last week was just almost like there was like this like portal, or this like, I saw it as like, I felt it like there was like this window, or this like invitation that we needed to sort of like concentrate our energy through, to like create form, or to get on the other side of this transformation. But it had like a magnetism that made it inevitable that we were going to get through, right? But it didn't really feel that way. It kind of felt like, but it was like the imaginal discs that I was talking about with a caterpillar. It's like we're coded in how to do this. We're coded in how to ascend. We're coded in how to activate light body. So it's like, it's inevitable. But what I felt last week, towards the end of last week, was just sort of this, like, we, our energy got like, it found the stream, the riptide pulled us, and we just went through that vortex, that portal, had enough magnetism to pull our consciousness through. And as a result of that, a lot of things kind of getting, like, the edges got cut off, you know what I mean? Like, not everything made it through. And so there was a lot that kind of, a lot of refinement is what I'm feeling in this energy. Refinement, where things that were a little out of balance or weren't quite right. It's like a reconfiguration where there's like a perfect part for everything. And again, that geometry of like us with other people, it's like just, yeah, refining the way we communicate, refining like what we allow into our lives, what we're giving our energy to. It's like, it was like a real fast cleanup, but it's more of a refinement, because it wasn't like a cleanup where you had to like go in and really like ponder it and sit with it. It's almost like it happened really fast, right? Like you went through and the edges got cut off and everything's kind of reconfiguring. I think it's happening within our bodies. Our bodies are reconfiguring around these new energies. our brains, the neural pathways in our brains, whereas we might have had habits of speaking, habits of doing things, of, you know, just unconsciousness, where it's like it's not our default mode anymore. This higher consciousness is our default mode, because our brains have literally been rewired with all of the work that we've been doing, and also with the higher energies that are coming in, affecting our DNA. Okay, so refinement, but also an energy of justice or redemption, like what you I just saw a raven fly by, which always represents like a jump in consciousness, a jump. You have more access to magic, right? So it's like when you've done that work, and raven also, you know, kind of those shadowy realms, when you've done that work in those realms, within yourself, within the self confrontation, then you know, you're receiving. The meek shall inherit the earth. So for me, I'm having a 15-year long awaited dream. I knew that this would come to fruition at some point, and it's happening now. It just started happening last week. And so there are other things too, you know, not quite as long awaited, but a lot of things coming to fruition. So I think a lot of people are finding that, and that can be, you know, for also, you know, people that have abused power, or been in a position of having that they didn't really deserve, you know, things kind of falling away, the opposite true, but just this almost like karmic rebalancing, karmic justice. So happening within our bodies, happening in our lives in like tiny refinements, but also happening in just the justice, things coming into alignment. I'm seeing it in sessions with people that I know that I've worked with for years, that have done a lot of like really deep work within themselves, having just major shifting right now, major shifting. So, okay, I'm going to move into the cards and see what else they might have to say about the energies. The other reading that I did went in a completely different direction. I was like, wow, this is not the collective energy that I'm feeling. And then I'm like, well, because it never made it, you know, it wasn't recorded. Okay. So let's see here. And I don't know why that came up. That'll be interesting to explore that. So, okay. Wow, interesting. Okay, so we get 3 cards. Learn from the past, Elephant Spirit, a 25 card. Okay. And then give with Turkey Spirit, give with gratitude and grace. This is just sort of that abundance card. You know, it's like receiving, right? Receiving. Okay, and surrender now. So, okay, this is an interesting combination, actually. Let me ponder this for a minute, because this is kind of a card of obsession. This can be a card of like, this is sort of the energy we were in before when we were unraveling. So from in the past, right, where we were unraveling some of the hooks that we had, you know, and we had to put in a lot of work. We had to put in a lot of focus, you know, a lot of like heat, a lot of fire, you know, a lot of like dismantling, okay? And it was sort of a mode that we were in where it's just where we were at. You know, the mission changes, the energy changes, the directive, the guidance. You know, we're in a completely different space right now. So this kind of speaks to what I was just saying about how when we've done this sort of work in the past, we've done this sort of like burning off in the psychic realm. This is what it feels like to me. Okay. We're at this place of receiving now. So it's kind of validating that message, which is interesting because the last reading wasn't validating that message. It was more talking about the past and, you know, the kind of like this kind of energy that we were in, where we were doing a lot of cleanup, okay? But the fact that this card comes out with surrender now, you know, it's almost like letting go of all of that work that we had to do. And it was righteous work, and we had to do it. You know, we had to go in and do all that shadow work. We had to confront, we had to trudge through the 4th dimension and all the us and them and the, you know, the outer reflections of the parts of ourselves we've been rejecting. We had to do that work. But it's almost like on the other side of this, for the caterpillar land, you know, we're creating something different, and we're receiving from a different level of consciousness. So it's almost like surrendering the battle. The battle was necessary. It was part of the journey, but the journey is shifting now, and so we're surrendering. So last time I was talking about the sadness, this kind of sadness that was coming up, where it's almost like we're leaving behind everything. You know, it's almost like that. We're leaving behind our whole way of being, our whole way of viewing the world, but also how we dealt with the old world, how we climbed out of the old world is also leaving now. So that's interesting. Okay, let me pull a bit more. Okay, is this, you know what, I'm going to put this out. That's too many. I don't feel like trying to read that many at once. I'm so paranoid this isn't recording. Okay, so we get the Three of Wands. So this is that like kind of like 333 message that we started with last time, where it's like you're right on track, that hawk medicine, you're moving in the right direction. Dreams are coming true, you're being guided, you've like moved on. I know this card traditionally means like you're there with your board, you're ready, you're waiting for the wave to come in. It's all a go, but it's really been coming through for me as like you're exactly in the right place. You're in the right place, and you're doing what you need to do, but it's like it's again that message of like, you're done with this stuff, you're done. You've learned from the past, you're bringing it forward with you, but you're bringing it into this like grace, this grace land where you're receiving, you're giving, you're receiving. It's more of a flow, it's just a different way of living. And it's like we might not quite be in that, like we're just we went through here, we're in this spot, we're right where we need to be, even the shape of her board, but we're still kind of like we're catching our waves, we're waiting for our waves to come. But it's not like we're waiting anymore, as in you have to wait because you haven't done the work. No, we've done the work. It's like we're just waiting for that next opportunity, right? Where everything's coming with grace. Sometimes we're receiving, sometimes we're giving, sometimes we're paying attention. This is also like paying attention, and when the opportunity arises, taking it. When you're guided to do something, do it. When you're guided to not do something or cut something out, cut it out. It's like you're riding those waves, you're allowing them to move you, knowing that you're in, you're in this place of flow now, you're in this place of flow. The game is changing. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, so the Ten of Wands and the Hermit. So the Ten of Wands is, that's kind of, again, like this, a lot of fire. In another deck that I have, there's like fire, there's like 10 wands all around her, and she's holding this book, and she's tearing off these pages, actually. And so it's like she's burning off all the things she needs to burn off. You need that intense flame to kind of do, and it's the same colors, to do that work. But here, look, he has his badges tattooed on him from the past, all the things he's done, the rings of the tree, everything that he's done it. And what does he have left? He has this little egg. It's like the egg of his true self, the egg of his soul signature that has encoded in it how to move forward and how to live his life the way he always, the way he intended, the way his soul intended to live the life once it got on the other side of all this like cleanup. First we did the cleanup. We cleaned up our past. We cleaned up the past, the distortion, the programming, and we needed a lot of intensity, a lot of loss, a lot of trials, a lot of fire, a lot of pain, to get us to do that. And we did it. And it's like here he is with his badges, his tattoos, everything, his Girl Scout badges, everything that his Boy Scout badges, everything that he's earned. And what does he gain from that is his innocence and the purity. To look at him, he's like, I've always had it. I just had to uncover it. And he has his battle, his battle makeup still on, his warrior paint. It's still on him, but it's like it's time. We can lay it down. We can lay down the battle. We can lay down the fight, and we can take our egg forward. The dragon egg, the cosmic egg. I was having dreams that matched up with dreams of friends of mine where we were dreaming of this cosmic egg, this dragon egg. In fact, oh gosh, in a session I had the other day, there was a dragon, again, that fiery activation energy, and she had been working with dragons as well, I found out, which makes sense because I saw them in her. But there was this egg, this egg that was kind of gifted to her, from the dragon, and again from her, from everything that she had done. Everything that she had done in her past, the trials that she had taken on in service to humanity, service to her lineage, in service to this ascension. Those of us that have really come to do this, okay? And then being rewarded, this egg, well, what we're rewarded is the truth of our consciousness, the truth of our being, the purity of our souls, to move forward in life from that space, and to receive and give from that space, to live from that space. That's the butterfly. That's the butterfly on the other side of the caterpillar. That's living on the other side of your transformation. Okay, so it comes out with the Hermit. Yeah, there it is again. So, okay, so that's just reiterating that message, that the egg being the soul. The Hermit is the deepest part of ourselves. It's when you pull back your energy the whole way away from the world, what do you find? You find your own soul signature, your own soul song, your own unique expression of your divinity. of the oneness that we all are, your contribution. You find it, bringing it forward, acting and receiving from that space. Okay, I'm going to do an oracle card. This might be a shorter reading as I wasted so much time. Now I'm running out of time today. But that's okay. Trusting, always. All right, so we get acceptance. Okay, yeah, so that's a beautiful message, and it's a fours being a card of safety, so accepting everything that's happening. And that's something that I was feeling too with that. It's interesting with the two hands, and I was doing this kind of movement here, with the things that are kind of falling away, like, and the letting go, the surrendering and the letting go. It's like sometimes you can feel like you're losing things that you really liked, like things that, so the change that has happened for me after 15 years is my daughter's living with me again. We're living together full time. And so we were separated when she was 2. She's 17 now. And, it was really tragic on a million different levels. And I didn't see her. I didn't see either of my kids very much. I saw them like 6 days a week for, a lot of their lives after, being like full-time stay-at-home Waldorf mom, like attachment parenting and all this. It was really tragic. So it kind of reminds me of this, like we were separated, but there was always this like thread that kept us together where I knew it was going to come back around at some time, and that time being now, but I've been used to being alone for most of the week, for a really long time, and I have like self-care rituals, and, I go to the forest every Wednesday with my friend, and we're out there all day, and it's like, I'm not able to do those things right now. Like everything is changing. So there's also a part of me that's like, oh my God, I'm losing something else. Now I'm losing something else. And, and just accepting the whole thing and trusting, like, again, that refinement where it's like everything's coming back into its proper form. So that like righteousness, that karmic justice, where it's like her and I, we took on our trials, and we, signed up to do some major clearing, in our past, and yet now we're in this space of, and you might be relating to this in some way in your own life, that giving and receiving, that giving of receiving, and but refinements, and even her and I not used to being, or she's the same way, she kind of raised herself because there was a lot of neglect, but so we're both just kind of used to doing our own thing, but so we're having to learn how to like coexist and like just work around each other's schedules and needs, and like I'm learning to have better boundaries, and she's learning what she's learning, and it's just refinements that are just needing to happen, and they're happening naturally, but it's also very written, because those refinements I needed, that's part of my butterfly, that butterfly, to have like just everything come into like proper alignment, proper form, proper reconfiguration, for the highest expression. It's that highest expression of our souls, where it's like things are starting to make sense. They're starting to come together. We don't have to function from that, we don't have to function from what we had to do to survive or what we had to do to clean up. That was never true living. That was never the true expression of our soul. That was the way to get there. That was our service. That was the cleanup. That was the service to humanity. Are you coming, hon? Okay. So the beeping, we can incorporate the beeping, right? It's like time's up, time's up for this kind of stuff. And so now living from our souls, living the whole way through. But so, the stuff that's falling away right now that was connected to the survival and the sacrifice of the way life needed to be when we were doing the cleanup, and we were doing that, just the fiery pit, the other part of the mission, okay? Some of those things falling away now, and it can still feel like a loss. But knowing that it is this reconfiguration, it's a writing and everything coming back into its true alignment, and not that anything was ever wrong, although it appeared that way to our minds, like this is unjust. And yes, a lot of things were very, very unjust, but they were very much also a part of how we were activating and how we were doing that cleanup and that work within ourselves. And I can't remember what I said in the other reading or not. I might be repeating myself, but within our own selves, within our trajectory, our Akashic trajectory, and through our lineage and through the collective, and for this ascension, in service to that. And being in a different space now, okay, but accepting the cleanup, because again, some of the things that we were doing in that survival state were nice. We liked them. They worked for us. Because they helped us survive and they helped us to do this work. But now it's like everything is reforming, and it's reforming to be in alignment, to be in alignment with that true soul signature on the other side. On the other side of this, you know, butterfly land. So in this adjustment reconfiguration. Okay. So let me get a little more. Queen of Cups. Okay, so this came up in the other one, and the other one that didn't make it through, the Queen of Cups. So using our intuition, you know, it's like she's very in touch. She's always been kind of that portal, like that imaginal disc, you know, the connection that we had, the inner knowing that we had of this sort of like realm on the other side, this realm on the other side of all of our trials. She's been the connector, and she's still the connector. So she's assisting us through this sort of reconfiguring, this refinement, and just knowing, you see how the colors are matching here, you know, and oh, it's interesting. Look at her hands. Look at her hands, and like in the middle is that cup, and look at these hands, and in the middle is this sort of like, you know, this guidance, this knowing. So there's this knowing, and again, what I was talking about with that vortex, where it's like there's this magnetism between it, where it's like we are moving through this place, this space, this vortex, we're moving through this passage. It's guided through our intuition, and you know, we hold that cup. It's like this is our imaginal disc. This is the coding that we have. We have the coding to do this ascension. We have the coding to make it into higher frequencies, to stabilize into higher frequencies, and to start to live from there. So there is a surrendering, and even the surrendering can be a little bit fiery because we can feel a little afraid or like we're losing something, but to really trust in the wisdom, to trust in the wisdom of our souls, to trust in that codex, the codex of our DNA, the codex in the sun, the codex that's all around us. We're coded. The earth, humanity is coded to ascend. We're coded to activate our light bodies and to come into full DNA expression, and to live it from a completely different realm, you know, where we are receiving and giving from that soul space, from that deep soul space. So again, surrendering, surrendering the fight, surrendering everything, and just letting that egg, that inner knowing bring us the whole way through that portal, to continue to bring us through that portal into butterfly land is what I want to call it. Okay, so I'm gonna do a goddess card. Okay. Nurture. Okay, so nurture, there's that divine feminine energy. It's an 11 card. There's that kind of portal energy as well. The 11, walking through that portal, walking through with real, so what I'm feeling from this is again that grace, you know, that grace of like we're held. We know how to do this, and we can do it gently and softly. We can do it with self-love. We can know that this is how held we are. This is how this card's been coming through for me. Look at her, she's so loving, you know, she's just like, I got you, you know. It's like your higher self, life, the natural cosmic law, all of this is very, very natural and very safe. So again, we have this 4 card here. You are safe. It's safe to go through these thresholds. Something that was coming up the other day was, again, because I had done this reading a couple months ago, and it was about the thresholds. It was about the dark night of the soul, and how, you know, a lot of fear comes up when we're passing through a threshold, because we're releasing, and there's that kind of like ego death in a way, definitely an ego death, but also like what I was saying is releasing some of the things from the old life, you know, some of the badges, you know, some of the things that we earned that, you know, were nice, you know, they were as far as we had gotten. It was our edge, you know, we met a certain edge, you know, big fish, little pond, right? Yeah, big fish, little pond, where we were at the edge, and we kind of like had everything together. You know, this came up in another reading. You know, when you go into a new bubble, it was one of those. I forget what I called it, but yeah, just this theme coming up. Like every time you expand into a new level, a new depth within yourself, and a new level of unification. You know, there is kind of you have to cross through a threshold, again, the threshold, and there can be some fear. There can be some fear on that threshold, where, you know, you just have to trust that wave. You can trust that you can ride that wave. But again, this message of like it's really, really held, and you're safe. So even when you go through one of those fear thresholds, a dark night of the soul, or you know, just some trembling, you know, like yeah, just that feeling, or like transition, like with birth, where you're like, I can't do it, you know, like we're just gonna die because I clearly cannot do this. And then, you know, the baby bursts through you because it's natural, you know, it's coded, it's just, you know, it's a safe process. it's a safe process. And same thing with these birthing ourselves. Yeah, the birth canal. That's, can't remember if I said that in this reading or the other one, but it's like a birth canal. It's safe to birth ourselves, and we're nurtured and we're held, and we can nurture and hold ourselves through that, and just remind ourselves. And sometimes with the solar energy, a lot of us, not all of us, but some of us will have it experienced through the heart, and a lot of rapid heartbeat or heart palpitations or even heart pain. You can think you're having a heart attack and dying, and all this. And so I've just learned to tell my heart, like, we're safe, we're safe, we're safe. It's related to anxiety as well, just like the energy that just kind of like is really rocking your world and it's shaking everything up, especially if you feel energy. It can be like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, what is going on? And then it can create sensations in the heart, because the heart is, can express anxiety, right? But also it's the solar energy, that the magnetic field, it affects the magnetic field, the heart being magnetic, and the magnetic field around the heart. And so, there's science behind it too. But anyway, just that, like, we're safe, just telling ourselves, or whatever it is, even if it's not a physical symptom from the signs, maybe you're emotional and you just can't stop crying and feel like you're never going to get on the other side of, you're never going to get on the other side of this. It's like you are, and you're held. And just knowing that, allowing this to be a message to you, if you are struggling on those thresholds, knowing that it's very, very natural. It's as natural as birth. The other thing that I'm feeling to say right now is, we've been talking about, I don't know if I talked about this in readings, but it's coming up in other ways, sessions and Facebook posts and stuff like that, where, the cycle of the yugas, the 26,000 year cycles, where in our Akashic memory, we have the memory. It just reminded me when I looked at this card of floods and earth catastrophe and devastation. We all have that in our cellular memory, okay? And it always happens at the shift of the ages. So it's like, as the energy rises, as we have this solar maximum, that's when the catastrophes would happen. And so it's a very similar energy to what we're feeling right now, and it can kick up a lot of fear. It can kick up a lot of fear. So as we're crossing into the threshold of deep soul alignment and higher consciousness, higher frequency consciousness, it also kicks up memories. So part of this, like, learn from the past, and part of these badges that we've learned can go back into our past life, into our Akash, where we've gone through these earth catastrophes and the entire, civilizations and humans being destroyed, and again, part of the journey, part of the cyclical nature. And now we have so many prophecies. I'm sure you've heard. There's a part of me that's like, oh my God, there's so much to say, and I'm not gonna do it justice. I don't have time to say it all, but just like trusting that you've heard this as well. that this is the time, the sixth sun, where we're in the solar maximum, but this time there's not a catastrophe. We're raising in consciousness. Look at her crown chakra. She's very alien in a way. If you look at this as like her extended head, she's very galactic, and it's like a galactic energy and a galactic expansion, moving into higher frequencies. This time we're not leaving the body, we're staying in the body. And it's the first time we've done this, so it's scary, it's scary, but we are coded with this. We are coded with this. We know how to do this. It's natural. It's as natural as birth. But those very real, because around the time that the jab was coming out and just going all around, I was having these like real visceral memories of like genetic mutilation, genetic crossing. It was like, it wasn't specific, but it's like I just had this terror because I was remembering times of interference and ways that I had been. I'm not finding my words. I'm not finding my words because it's like I can't go into that energy right now to describe it well, but I'm not in that energy. But I did a lot of clearing. I did a lot of clearing around that sort of Akashic memory of the past time. So that's kind of what's tricky about right now, is it is really, really kicking up. It has been. I feel like we're stabilizing now. I feel like this is a lot of what's happened in the past, but kicking up a lot of those memories and having to sort through them and being in that liminal space where you don't know what's real, and just a lot of like duality and division and stuff like that. And so, but that being part of the badge is part of what we went through, and coming to this place now again. My main point is just knowing that we are safe, even if we might have some of that Akashic memory that's subconscious. We don't understand it, but it does get kicked up for humanity. We've all been around the block, I would think. I mean, maybe some people Maybe some people haven't, but a lot of us, those of us that are out on the cutting edge, forging the way for this this heaven on earth, higher dimensional way of living, receiving and giving with grace, and receiving and giving as a reflection of the higher consciousness, which we've attained through this work that we've done, and it goes back lifetimes. It goes back lifetimes. We've prepared for this time right now, okay, and this time being different and being safe. So a real message of safety. I'm at 30 minutes. I'm going to start wrapping up, but I am going to pull another oracle card. I might end up just using all the decks, which I usually do. Okay, so I am presence. Okay, so yeah, there it is again, just sitting on our throne, you know, being in that. It's like I am presence, and I'm one with the I am presence of all humanity. You know, it's like that oneness, that unity, that one mind. Okay, it's like we're all moving through this passage together. We're doing this. Oh, and it came out with empathy. Okay. We're all doing this together. It's what catches my eye is the green with her, and the nurture, and the empathy. So again, just having compassion and empathy for ourselves. It's like, again, this is written. There's the imaginal disc. It's like this is all divinely orchestrated. It's all divinely timed. You know, it's cycles. It's the cyclical nature. It's in the yugas. You know, we've passed out of Kali Yuga supposedly on the 10th of February, 2024, which was last week. You know, according to some people's calculations, I just learned. And so anyway, you know, it's like this is held. We're held, and we can have compassion for humanity, and we can have empathy and compassion for ourselves as we move through this, knowing that this is where we're at right now. Like everything that we've been working for is starting to take form. It's starting to take form. It's starting to reconfigure. It's starting to come through. So it's really interesting. So, you know, and again, just noticing small movements, noticing small changes that can start to reassure us. I feel like that's another message where we're starting to relax and soften, maybe because we're starting to realize, oh my God, this is real. Like the further along, the further we get through that portal, and we start to spend, and you know, the reconfiguring, and we start to get more and more comfortable in our own true skin, the more we're going to relax into this softness, this energy where, you know, again, we're laying down the battle. You know, we're laying down all the past, everything that we had to do to get to this point. You know, we have our badges, we have our scars, but you know what we also have is that egg that we're carrying forward. We're carrying forward now. So I think I'm gonna close there. Actually, I'm gonna pull one last card because there's one deck that I didn't use, and it just jumped out at me. Yeah. Okay. One last from the Secret Language of Light. Last message. 33, soul love. Wow. Okay, interesting. Yeah. So it's like 33 also matching with this. So there's the 333 energy again, you know, the moving forward from a place of our soul, the depth of our soul, and living from that place of love and unity, moving forward in this way. There is one last deck I didn't use. I forgot to use the wizard deck, so I'm going to pull that. Okay, yeah, I felt like there was one more message, so that's what I was going to say. At this time of change, and we get the Tower card, which is a card of change. So there we are. We're on the precipice of the profound change, the shift of the ages, starting to flesh out now in our lives. You can feel it in the air. You can sense it in the reconfiguring of your life, and it's only gonna step out more and more and more, living from this energy, and having it start to trickle and spread and heal and repair, reconfigure, restructure, make things right. The wrongs are being made right. In our habits, and the way we speak, and the things we allow, and the things we sort of just let slide, you know, not having good boundaries, or just being kind of sloppy because we were too busy trying to survive. You know, it's like now everything can come into that right alignment, a time of great change. So beautiful message. I felt like there was like an ending that needed to nail it, and this is it. So thank you for watching and listening, and I will see you next time if I do.